You're listening to the Super League Pod, coming up on episode 119 of your favourite Rugby League podcast. We've got all your feedback and shout-outs, news from around the world of Rugby League. We'll be looking back at round one in Super League, as well as previewing the upcoming World Club Series. And I have to say sorry to Scoots McKenzie, because I do swear a tiny bit during the Hull FC review. But strap yourselves in, kids, because apart from that, my language is impeccable. It's time for your podcast, the Super League Pod. So, we are back again, Mark, episode 129 of the Super League Pod. How are you doing, sir?
I'm alright, thank you, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very, very well. Excited for the week ahead, really.
Well, we've got a proper show, haven't we, really, today, in terms of all the listener feedback. We had close to 60 game, maybe more, about 60 game reviews from listeners this week.
Which is
55 to 60, which is
fantastic.
I think that's good. That's good going for the first week back.
Yeah, absolutely.
All Super League games covered and a few else besides. So, promising start to the year.
It is.
In that regard.
And as you say, it's a proper Super League pod for the first time in a long time. All the constituent pieces are falling into place. So we can crack on. Have you had a good week away from the podcast? How's things going? Anything exciting on? Or has it just been
I went to Edinburgh with work.
Oh, right, with work?
Yeah, because we have the company that I work for, the company that I do work for is outsourced from a company that has its head office in Edinburgh.
I see. I think you talked about going up there before. Have you been up there before?
My customer is in Edinburgh, even though I do the same job in the same chair in the same room as I did for the two companies ago when I worked for, who are now my customer, and then I've worked for two companies since. But outsourced is great.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But
just thank God your job hasn't been taken by some little lad in India or something.
The robots are coming for us.
The robots are coming.
They won't quite be able to take my job away with the robots. But anyway,
do you think there's a chance that a you from the future is going to come back in time and tell you currently about what happened?
Well, we saw me from the future wearing triple denim at Live and Beer Festival a few years ago, didn't we?
Phenomenal. What a great night. Yeah, absolutely. If you had locked eyes with that guy, I'm pretty sure we'd have torn a hole in the space-time continuum that night.
Definitely.
That was phenomenal. Fair enough. So, did you get to do much in Edinburgh? Were you up there for working back the same day?
No, it's literally sit on the train, have a look out the window, go to the office, sit on the train back. But it was, as work meetings go, a decent one. Yeah. How about you?
It's been a normal week. Nothing major happening really. Steady away. Just a normal. Nothing exciting. No trips to Edinburgh. I'm racking my brains. It's just been work.
Nothing new happening.
No, it's just been work. It's been working a bit of rugby league now that it's back on TV as well.
Yeah, it's been exciting.
That's pretty much the highlight, to be honest. We get to sit and watch those two or three games this weekend.
Forgot how much I missed it in a weird way. It reminded me how much I loved it, maybe.
Yes.
Having it back in our lives as a regular feature.
Exactly.
And maybe we should...
should we talk rugby league?
Let's do that.
Okay, so, before we get to the feedback and shout-outs, what's coming up this week, Mark?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about attendances in the shout-out and feedbacks, and a couple of new blogs I've written this week, which is something else I've been occupying my time with. We've not got loads in the news section, but we will cover... the
big stuff.
Well, Tony hasn't asked us to not cover it. He hasn't offered us any money to not talk about his suspension, so we're going to talk about that.
How much? We didn't chase the dollar on that one, though. Really, maybe we could have done.
Well, if he's handed out bribes, we'll take one. Obviously, we've got lots of feedback, like we said, on all of the Super League games. There's the round 2 of the Championship, where again, exciting action to talk about. Challenge Cup as second round too. We gave the NRL All-Stars game a miss, so if you're looking forward to us talk about that, we're not going to.
It was a big win for the Indigenous. There you go, we've done it.
We're going to do our predictions for the World Club Series. We're going to talk, I guess at that time, a little bit about our meet-up and stuff that we'll be having at Wigan Central before the game on Sunday. And then I've got some trivia for you, not birthday related, for people who've started to swat up on that. So
like me, you mean?
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Excellent. And of course,
anything you're looking forward to?
I'm not the trivia, that's for sure. I'm certainly not looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to talk about the games. It's good to start having matches and things and bits of controversy to talk about. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the feedback and shout-outs. Who's been getting in touch?
Yeah, so Darts is the first one. He said he got both Baduras and Ferner in the trivia last week. #success.
Congratulations, Darts. Also give congratulations to Rich Wilkinson. He got in touch with us a bit late for the cut-off, but he reckoned he got Baduras and Ferner pretty sharpish as well.
Yeah, 1 question for Baduras, 2 for Ferner.
Which was impressive.
Well, what that says is it's certainly geared towards Australian-based Leeds Ridos fans.
There you go.
Last week's quiz entries.
There you go. But bravo, well done, Wilkin. Always good to hear from you, sir.
And Darts as well, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
At Scoots28Mac, Sarah McKenzie, she got in touch. She said, hang on a minute, did Tom Crook and Mark Hill not realise they're not allowed to go on holidays during the season?
Well, I did get back to Sarah on this one, and I did point out that actually I think we put more time and preparation into planning our time off around Super League pod than we do, I certainly do, in terms of planning, any kind of booking annual leave or anything like that at work. You're just based around podcast, and when I've been away, obviously I've found time to grab a few tins and phone in. So
it's we're
committed. We're definitely committed. There's no excuses.
Or the weeks that we're not here to do it, we'll give the listeners the money back. How's that sound?
Absolutely,
fair deal.
In fact, we'll give them 2 episodes worth back.
I had a nice pint with Sarah's brother-in-law Owen before the Salford and Wigan game. That was a nice experience.
I never had the privilege, but was he well?
Yes, he was good. We talked a little bit about the family and his adjustment to fatherhood, and the sort of changes that they're starting to realise they have to make in some of the things, like if they do go out to meet people, and now organising to do it a little bit earlier in the evening, or those sorts of things. I got to learn about how Scoots and Helen's dad is a massive FC fan, but is not from Hull. Moved to the area, which is amazing how strong Hull accents the 2 girls have, because both of their parents have moved into the area.
I see. Okay,
and then they obviously picked up at school. This was what I learned. Scoots' dad's a massive FC fan. Apparently not, a classic bloke. Outside of that, not really too expressive and that sort of thing. And then at the game, really massively powerfully into it. So you can see where Joshua's influence certainly has come from his granddad there, I would suggest, in terms of his hatred for the Rovers and his passion for FC. So
that's fun.
Yeah, it was nice to sort of catch up on a few little bits like that.
How lovely. That's amazing. Superb. Well, lucky you. Who's next to get in touch?
Tony McHugh at Runcorn Celt, if you want to follow him on Twitter. He said, join the Fantasy League, can't wait for the new season. Worry for Widnes this season, though, but you never know, I suppose.
Starting to know, aren't we?
Well, they will have no halfbacks soon.
Yes.
If they had any to start with. So it's worrying times. But we'll talk about where the first week of the Fantasy League got us up to at the end of the Super League reviews, but I'll just drop in that I forgot to do the substitutions. On my second team where I talked about
I didn't
how
even look at my second team. Yeah,
I forgot to put my expensive players into the side and my cheap ones onto the bench, and so that gave me a bad score in that one. But
is Don Manfredi injured?
Yes.
Right.
For at least half the season.
He's already been transferred out. And Joe Burgess has come into mine. I'd not noticed that he was out for that length of time, and then of course
you've missed some serious points on Saturday.
Was Bateman injured on Saturday? Was he just rested?
Bateman was a minor knock in training.
Right, there you go. So that's where I lost points this week. Everyone else scored for me. But we'll get to that in a short while. Colin Render.
He says, do you think Catalan away is good prep for the World Club Challenge game, World Club Series game, for Warrington? Should the RFL do everything they can to help Super League clubs?
Well, as it transpires, it was pretty terrible preparation in some respects because they didn't get the W. But I don't think where you play, I don't think it's to the detriment of Warrington really, because they'll get back. They've got a week to fix up and do training around the place. If anything, playing in a bit of warm weather probably helps in terms of injuries, if not instead of hindering, and in terms of keeping warm and stuff like that. If it's a bit warmer, it probably isn't the worst thing in the world.
Sitting on a plane for a couple of hours is never ideal for recovery, but no. I believe they chartered a plane, so you would have expected it to have playing with maybe more leg room and that sort of thing for the players, softer seats or what have you. So I can't imagine it'll be that bad. And you've got to remember Brisbane, like the day before that, were on 3/4 of the way around the world flight.
Exactly.
So maybe have them at home would have been better preparation for them. But would they have got us competitive, physical game against a side that played very much in an NRL mould, or wanted to play in an NRL mould? Certainly in terms of the restraint they showed in attack, shall we say.
Structured and disciplined formations and shapes, should the RFL be doing everything they can? Well, look, I mean, it's a home game for Warrington, so there's not much more help you can give them than that, really, is there? I don't know what more the RFL can do from my point of view. Paul Michael Craig, what did he have to say?
He asked, this is an interesting question, he said, which English rugby league team means most to their own town or city?
Ooh, dear me.
I had a big think
about of that, isn't it?
It's difficult.
Castleford means a lot to the town of Castleford, because it's not like there's a distraction in terms of a professional football team.
I thought about all the 5 towns teams.
Yeah.
Because Featherstone, obviously, the capacity of the ground is equivalent to the
capacity of the town,
the population of the village. So there's one. I thought Rochdale, because it's a fan-owned entity now through the supporters trust. So I thought that might be an option. And then I don't know. Hull is a big rugby league city, but it's got 2 sides. Yes. So one doesn't outweigh the other, I suppose. I would imagine there'll be smaller communities that have a strong amateur side that might lean on it more. Yeah,
and that'll be more of a hub of a community.
Yeah.
Yes, Halifax was another one that sprung up with me. But then looking at attendances and things like that, you think, well, perhaps not.
They give a shit about
burnt
them
the bridges, really, haven't
they? Want to give them good deals for the stadium they play in and that sort of stuff.
Exactly. So, certainly not Bradford.
All rugby league clubs have really passionate parts of the support base, to their local support base, that have strong links with community and grassroots games. Yeah. So I think it's a common feature across the board, and even the newer clubs or the southern-based clubs are doing more and more to integrate that kind of thing into the way they operate too. So,
what's the attendance like comparably between Wigan and Wigan Athletic? Do you know?
I haven't looked at athletics attendances for
because I presume athletics attendances peak and trough in terms of where they were in the football league.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm guessing they're fairly equivalent now, but that is without any research whatsoever.
Yeah, there you go. But you would say that rugby league was more important to the town of Wigan than association football, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Historically,
given the history and the tradition that exists.
And of course, you've got like a number of famous amateur sides in the region too, which supplements all that. Yeah,
true. Okay, there you go.
There's no statue of a Wigan Athletic player in the town centre, I suppose.
No.
There you go.
There's not one of Dave Whelan,
not yet,
pointing to his brother. Did you know Dave Whelan broke his leg in a cup final?
Oh,
I heard that on Sports News 12 times. Bernard JKD, what's he been saying?
He says, not quite finished the Auckland Nines yet, but it was an embarrassment to rugby league. The great game of Nines shown a lack of respect by the NRL clubs. Quality actually went backwards from the first 2 years of the Nines, and I didn't watch year 3, but the standard in years 1 and 2 was dire. Even the worst game of the Sevens in the Olympics was vastly superior to anything on show in the Nines, and I think Sevens is a poor sport.
Right, well, I didn't watch hardly any of the Nines, so I'm not really in a position to disagree or agree with Bernard on that.
I don't have the same strength of feeling about a decline in standards. I think it's been pretty steady along the way. It's been very similar to me every year. Yeah. There's been soft games and entertaining games and then good games. Yeah. But I'd say I'm not quite with Bernard on this one. But neither am I banging the drum to say the Nines is fantastic.
No. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a showpiece in terms of as a season opener, and not necessarily in terms of the quality of play that you'll see, but in terms of it as an event in Auckland where...
Well, it'll be leaving Auckland next year, though.
Well, wherever they have it, it's an event that draws focus to the start of the NRL season. You will see, in theory, you're meant to see more expansion